A decade ago, most people didn't even know what Bitcoin was. Today, it's grown to become one of the biggest financial assets in the world, worth trillions. So how did this happen? Well, that's what we'll be explaining today. Welcome to our channel, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Most people have heard of Bitcoin, but few understand the phenomenal ascent of this digital currency. We're going to trace its evolution from the obscurity of 2009 to the multi-trillion-dollar phenomenon it is today. If that sounds interesting, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any updates. Bitcoin was born in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, when people lost faith in traditional financial institutions. Its enigmatic creator or creators, known only as Satoshi Nakamoto, sought to create a decentralized digital currency free from government interference. In 2009, Nakamoto mined the first block of Bitcoin, and the network went live. At first, nobody paid much attention. That all changed in 2010, when a man named Laszlo Hanyecz made history by purchasing 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoins. This transaction marked the first use of Bitcoin for real-world goods and kicked off a frenzy of interest in the new digital currency. Since then, the value of Bitcoin has skyrocketed from a few cents to nearly $50,000 per coin. So if you had invested just $100 in early 2010, it would be worth over $36 million today. That's a 36,000% return on investment, which is absolutely unheard of in the traditional financial markets. But what makes this story even more remarkable is that many people were able to achieve this staggering return with just 1 Bitcoin. A lot of these people are now millionaires, and their wealth keeps growing by the day. And while some may think that Bitcoin is a risky investment, the truth is that its price has been steadily increasing since its inception and shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. So if you're looking to make a big return on your investment, then Bitcoin might be worth considering. Just remember that investing always carries risk, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. With that said, let's take a look at how 1 Bitcoin became worth $36 million. It was 2010, and the world was still reeling from the effects of the Great Recession. The US economy had shrunk by nearly $5 trillion, and millions of people had lost their jobs or their homes. In this climate of economic uncertainty, many people began to question the stability of the financial system. They started looking for alternatives to traditional currencies like the US dollar or the euro, something that wasn't tied to any particular government or institution that could potentially manipulate it. This is where Bitcoin came in. Satoshi Nakamoto's creation offered an alternative to traditional currencies, a digital asset that was decentralized and immune to government interference. It wasn't long before people started taking notice. In May 2010, a programmer and entrepreneur named Mike Novogratz hosted one of the first Bitcoin meetups in New York City. Around 20 people attended that initial gathering, but by February 2011, the group had grown to over 200 members. This surge in popularity caught the attention of the media, and Bitcoin started getting covered by major publications like the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. As more and more people learned about Bitcoin, its value began to rise. In the beginning, though, there wasn't much use for Bitcoin other than trading it for other currencies or buying illicit goods on the dark web. It wasn't until companies like Overstock.com started accepting Bitcoin as payment that things really took off. Before long, other businesses followed suit, and Bitcoin became a legitimate form of payment. As more businesses started accepting Bitcoin as payment, its value began to climb steadily. By late 2012, 1 Bitcoin was worth around $10, but this was just the beginning. On January 2013, the value of Bitcoin skyrocketed to 1,000% in a single day. It went from around $11 to $13 per coin. What caused this sudden surge? No one is 100% certain, but most agree that it was due to a combination of factors. For one thing, the media was starting to take notice of Bitcoin and was covering it more extensively. This helped to raise awareness of the cryptocurrency and drew in more investors. Additionally, Bitcoin was becoming more accepted as a legitimate form of payment, and more businesses were starting to use it. This gave people more confidence in the currency and made them more likely to invest in it. Finally, the limited supply of Bitcoin was also a factor in its rise in price. Because there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins, Its value is likely to continue going up as demand increases. All of these factors combined to cause the value of Bitcoin to skyrocket in early 2013, and it hasn't stopped going up since. The year 2013 was a watershed moment for Bitcoin. That's when it first entered the mainstream consciousness and the media started taking notice. On April 10, 2013, the New York Times published an article titled, "Bitcoin rises as an alternative currency, but risks abound." This was one of the first major pieces of mainstream media coverage of Bitcoin, and it helped to raise awareness of the cryptocurrency among the general public. This media attention caused the price of Bitcoin to start climbing, and it reached a new all-time high of 1,161 per coin in December 2013. But this rally didn't last long. By February 2014, the price of Bitcoin had plummeted to under $200 per coin. This dip in price was due to a number of factors, including increased regulation from governments around the world and the closure of several major Bitcoin exchanges. Despite this setback, though, Bitcoin continued to gain popularity and its price began to recover. By the end of 2015, Bitcoin was back above $400 per coin, and it seemed like the previous bull run had just been a blip on the radar. But what was really happening was that Bitcoin was entering a period of consolidation. This is a common occurrence in the cryptocurrency market, where prices stay relatively low for a few years before shooting up again. And this time, the bull run was bigger than ever. On December 2017, the price of Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of $20,000 per coin. This was an incredible milestone for the cryptocurrency, and it showed just how far Bitcoin had come in such a short amount of time. But this bull run didn't last either. By the end of 2018, the price of Bitcoin had fallen to under $4,000 per coin. Again, this was due to a combination of factors, including increased regulation, the loss of major exchanges, and a general decline in the global economy. However, this dip in price proved to be a buying opportunity for many investors, and they took advantage of the low prices to accumulate more Bitcoin. Little did they know that another bull run was just around the corner. The year 2020 was a watershed moment for Bitcoin. It was during this year that the cryptocurrency market really started to explode, and Bitcoin mania set in. In April 2020, the price of Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of $64,000 per coin. This was an incredible milestone for the cryptocurrency, and it showed just how far Bitcoin had come in such a short amount of time. But this bull run didn't last either. By the end of 2020, the price of Bitcoin had fallen to under $30,000 per coin. Again, this was due to a combination of factors, including increased regulation, the loss of major exchanges, and a general decline in the global economy. However, this dip in price proved to be a buying opportunity for many investors, and they took advantage of the low prices to accumulate more Bitcoin. Little did they know that another bull run was just around the corner. In November 2021, the price of Bitcoin hit a new all-time high of $69,000 per coin. This was an incredible milestone for the cryptocurrency, and it showed just how far Bitcoin had come in such a short amount of time. It meant that the total value of all Bitcoins in circulation had reached $1 trillion. This was a truly remarkable achievement for a currency that had started out as a joke and had been written off by almost everyone in the financial industry. At this point, it's clear that Bitcoin is here to stay. It's become one of the most popular and well-known cryptocurrencies in the world, and its value is only increasing. So how did this happen? How did a digital currency created by a mysterious individual or group of individuals become one of the most valuable assets in the world? The answer, of course, is Nakamoto. He or she or they created a truly innovative and disruptive technology that has changed the way we think about money and finance. Nakamoto's invention has allowed people to transact business without the need for a middleman, like a bank or a government. It's given people in developing countries access to financial services that they would not have otherwise had. And it's created a new asset class that has generated huge returns for early investors. Of course, Bitcoin has also been controversial. Its price volatility has scared off many investors, and its use in illegal activities has been well documented. Additionally, the environmental impact of mining Bitcoin has come under scrutiny, as the process is incredibly energy-intensive. Despite these challenges, though, Bitcoin continues to grow in popularity and value. And it seems like nothing can stop it now. Now that Bitcoin has reached the $1 trillion mark, what's next? Well, only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, Bitcoin is here to stay. It's become one of the most popular and well-known cryptocurrencies in the world, and its value is only increasing. If you're an investor, you may be wondering how you can get involved in the Bitcoin boom. If so, it's important to do your research and understand the risks involved. Bitcoin is a highly volatile asset, so you could lose a lot of money if you're not careful. That said, there are also huge potential rewards, and many people are choosing to invest in Bitcoin anyway. No matter what you decide, though, it's important to remember that the true value of Bitcoin lies in its disruption of the status quo. Whether you love it or hate it, there's no denying that Bitcoin is changing the way we think about money and finance, and that alone is why it's worth paying attention to. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you want to learn more about Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, please feel free to check out our other videos. We always have new content being added and would love to have you as part of our community. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.